Although with Xianxia's current combat power he is not afraid of any void return stage, if the demon blood leader wants to escape, he could do nothing about it, unless he seals the escape route in advance. Fortunately, her plan to escape did not succeed. After a while, the stone puppet ran over and handed a space ring to Xianxia. It was obviously something that the demon blood leader originally possessed. Xianxia took it, swept away his spiritual mind, and happily received it. As the head of the sect, that beautiful woman is naturally rich, but Xianxia also didn't have time to check it one by one, so he could only put it aside first and talk about it when he left the Emperor Garden. Turning his head and looking around, he didn't find the space ring of Xianxia. It is estimated that it was accidentally banished to a void in the crack, so it is impossible to find it back. It didn't hurt much, the gains from this battle were already enough. At the very least, Xianxia's original goal had been achieved. Reaching out and flicking the stone puppet into the black book space, Xianxia said lightly, "Let's go." Oh. Bai Luo seemed a little lost, and after a light nod, she and Xianxia flew towards the end of the ice road with a strange expression along the way. She felt that her previous thoughts were quite wrong. When she saw Xianxia before, she found that his cultivation level was the same as her own. Bai Luo subconsciously felt that Xianxia was not a good match for her lord, which she doesn't like, and felt that Xianxia had not worked hard in these years, and the gaps with her lord was getting bigger. But after this battle, she knew that although Xianxia's cultivation level was 2 small levels lower than that of her lord, but in terms of true combat power, he might be on par with the lord. In the previous battle, if the lord were to deal with it, maybe it's not as perfect as Xianxia. Unfortunately, Xianxia used too much external force. Although this can be regarded as part of his strength, it is always unsatisfactory. His own strength is the fundamental. After all, external force is not a long-term solution. No one is perfect, and even beautiful Jade has flaws. It now appears that although there is a gap between him and her own lord, it is not very big, and he is barely worthy. At this moment, Bai Luo's mood improved a lot. All the dangers in the ice road are eliminated, and the journey is naturally unimpeded. Soon, Xianxia took Bai Luo to the hall where he had visited last time. When he arrived, Xianxia was already familiar with the road. But he didn't rush to leave but stared behind with a frown. After a while, 2 figures chased from there. It is the 2 women of Iceheart Valley. After leaving the ice road, they was surprised to see Xianxia waiting here. The 2 women were both stunned, with a vigilant look on their faces, and immediately the older woman stepped forward and said, "Dare to ask the little brother's name?" "This mistress of Scarlet Billowstar, Iceheart Valley, name is Tantinge. Thank you, brother, for saving our life just now." Xianxia glanced at them indifferently, and said, "If you chase me just to say your thanks, you don't have to. I have hatred with those 2, and killing them has nothing to do with you." Tantinge listened to him with a wry smile. "Although that is the case, the 2 of them are not good things at a glance. If you didn't kill them, the junior sister and I would probably be in a disaster. So anyway, please ask the little brother to accept the mistress' thanks and ceremony with the younger sister." Saying this, she actually bowed with the other woman. Xianxia's expression was faint, and he didn't bother to stop it, although he didn't mean to draw a knife to help them. But he did save their lives with of his appearance. This is also true. Otherwise, with the personality and behavior style of people like Xianxia, these 2 women will be dead. It's not an exaggeration to receive their ceremony. After they finished thanking him, Xianxia didn't say much. He also showed the appearance of a stranger not entering his eyes, and the expressions of the 2 women were somewhat embarrassing. They looked at each other and seemed a little hesitant to say something. "Is there anything else?" Xianxia frowned, showing a little displeasure. In their current situation, it's best to find a place to meditate and adjust their aura. What are they doing still entangled with him? Could it be that they see that they are strong and want to join forces? Or want to rely on him to protect their safety? Xianxia guessed that if this were the case, then they might have made a wrong calculation. Although they are good-looking, he didn't have a good intention to help out at will. It was already hard enough to take Bai Luo alone, and Yang Kai didn't have the idea of taking care of the two wounded. That's it. Tan Tinge stroked the hair in her ear, looked at Yang Kai with a look of expectation, and asked, "Dare to ask my little brother, the thing that swallowed the spirit of heaven and earth just now is the legendary ancient Holy Spirit. Ice Phoenix?" Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and stared at the opponent coldly, his expression darkened. Aware of his unkindness, Tan Tinge quickly waved her hand. "Don't get me wrong, little brother, my junior sister and I did not want to be a threat to you, let alone in this situation we don't have the ability. I just want to ask. Just ask. What about it?" Yang Kai snorted coldly. This woman is too unaware of what is good or what is wrong, so she think it's fine to inquire about these things? Don't know some things are taboo. If she is asking this to a kind of person with a bad temper, they'll kill her just by saying this. Hearing his answer, Tan Tinghei's expression was overjoyed, and he said anxiously, "If it's really an ice phoenix, can you transfer it to my ice heart belly? We can meet any of your requirements." Transfer? Yang Kai's face was startled, and he laughed angrily. "Are you not awake? You can say this as well?" Even Bai Luo, who was an outsider, looked at Tan Tinge sarcastically. This proposal is the funniest joke she has ever heard in her life. How noble is Ice Phoenix? Yang Kai was able to get a ray of its remnant soul. It was already a heaven-defying chances. How could it be transferred easily? But in the face of Yang Kai's cold words, Tan Tinge was not discouraged but said with a serious face, "I won't hide it from my little brother. I practice ice attribute cultivation in Ice Heart Valley. The totem that the disciples worship is the Ice Phoenix, so that thing has an unimaginable effect on my Ice Heart Valley." So what? Yang Kai became impatient. If the mistress does not feel wrong, the little brother should not practice the ice attribute technique. Although the Ice Phoenix is rare, it is not of much use to you, nor can it be used to its full potential. If you can agree to transfer it, I can promise you all the conditions on behalf of the sect. Tan Tinge spoke extremely fast and hurriedly said her plan. Another Ice Heart Valley woman also nodded in agreement. If Yang Kai could really agree to this deal, it would be worth the price that Ice Heart Valley paid, so they dared to make such a decision without the other seniors in the sect. She believed the others in the sect would only be grateful and happy, and there will be no complaints. "What you said just now, I will let it go. If you dare to say one more thing, I will make you two never leave the Emperor Garden." Yang Kai glanced at them coldly, unceremoniously threatened, and then pulled Bai Luo and walked aside. "Little brother, consider it carefully. If you think clearly, just come to Scarlet Billow's Star Ice Heart Valley." Tan Tinge seemed not to give up, and shouted from behind. As soon as the voice fell, a golden light shot from the front, and halfway it changed from stabbing to pumping. It swept across her body like a whip, and a soft cry came out. Tan Tinghei's whole body was pumped into the air and fell heavily on the ground. When she looked up, Yang Kai and Bai Luo had disappeared. "Senior sister." Another Ice Heart Valley woman was shocked and quickly walked over to help Tan Tinge up. "I'm okay." Tan Tinge slowly shook her head, with a hint of unwillingness on her face. She wanted to chase out, but remembering the strength of the blow just now, she did not dare to act rashly. She understood that what she said just now had aroused the other party's murderous intentions, but the other party was not a vicious person, so she would only be punished with a small punishment slightly, and did not really hurt her with the intention to kill. It is undoubtedly unwise to provoke the opponent at this moment. It is no different from seeking death. But watching the cultivator who had not cultivated the ice attribute technique left with the remnant soul of the Ice Phoenix, she was unwilling to do so. If that kind of thing is placed in Ice Heart Valley, it can play a big role. Why is this person so unreasonable? The younger woman was aggrieved. It's probably something that we don't know about. Tan Tinge smiled bitterly. But senior sister, could you just watch this big opportunity slip away from you? The other woman was obviously a little bit unwilling. What else can I do? Now I can only look forward to one day when he will change his mind. Anyway, I have told him that the cultivation star where Ice Heart Belly is located, if one day he wants to exchange it, he should go to the sect. Tantin shook her head. Forget it, that's the end of this matter. Junior sister, let's find a place to adjust our aura first. Alright. On the other side, Xianxia and Bailuo left the palace. Although Tan Tinghei's proposal was rejected by him, and he even tried to teach her once, Xianxia's mood was a little subtle. He left the Tongxuan continent with the remnant soul of the Ice Phoenix for Su Yan. It originally belonged to Su Yan's inheritance, but now it is favored by outsiders, and he is very irritated to the people boasting shamelessly to exchange it. If it wasn't for that he had no hatred with those two women, he would have already killed them, so they could not talk more about it. Along the way, Bai Luo was extremely honest and said nothing. She also knew that she was able to walk safely in this crisis-ridden Emperor Garden because of Yangka's help, so she didn't dare to disturb him. Soon, the two came to the front of a maze. Standing in front of the entrance of the maze, Yangkai frowned, thinking hard to remember. He has been in this place once. When he and Fei Jitu and others came here that day, they also lost their way in it, but the overall situation was smooth. At that time, there were Li and Guang puppets exploring the way ahead for them, which not only saved time and effort but also avoided many dangers. Now that there is no such puppet to be used, Yangkai can only rely on his own memory. Fortunately, he could barely remember the route he walked on that day. Even if there were some unclear places, he should be able to recall some of them when he reached a certain position. To be continued.